There's a kind of emptiness that is hard to explain, a kind of numbness that creeps in slowly, quietly, almost politely. One day you wake up and realize you don't feel excited about anything anymore. Not the things you used to love, not the people you care about, not the opportunities you once dreamed of. It's not depression in the dramatic sense, it's the quiet kind. The kind that doesn't scream, the kind that doesn't collapse you, the kind that simply erases the color from your life, one shade at a time. Part 27 is about that numbness, about the psychological exhaustion that makes joy feel unreachable, about the emotional deadness that replaces your spark, about the invisible weight that makes even good things feel heavy. People think losing joy means you're broken, but more often it means you've been surviving for too long. Part 27 begins with a truth few people want to admit. You don't feel joy because your nervous system has been in survival mode for years. It's not that you're ungrateful. It's not that you're negative. It's not that you don't appreciate what you have. It's that your body hasn't felt safe in so long that joy doesn't register anymore. Joy is a luxury emotion. You can feel joy only when your system believes the danger has passed. But for many people, the danger never truly ends, not physically, but emotionally. You learn to stay alert. You learn to stay guarded. You learn to stay prepared. You learn to never relax fully. So now the moment something good happens, your brain checks for threats instead of blessings. Part 27 goes deeper. You don't feel joy anymore because your mind adapted to pain faster than it adapted to pleasure. Pain was consistent. Pain was predictable. Pain was familiar. Joy was not. So your system learned to mute your highs to protect you from the crash. It numbed your joy to prevent disappointment. It suppressed excitement to buffer you against loss. It dulled your emotions to keep you functional. It's not malfunctioning, it's overprotecting. Part 27 explores the psychology behind emotional numbness. Many people who no longer feel joy grew up in environments where emotions weren't safe, where too much happiness attracted jealousy, where too much excitement got punished, where too much vulnerability led to being mocked, where being expressive was dangerous. So now as adults, they treat joy like a threat, not consciously, biologically. Your system whispers, "Don't get excited. Something bad always follows. Don't hope too much. You know how this ends. Don't enjoy it. It won't last." Joy feels temporary, fragile, suspicious, so you detach from it before it can detach from you. Part 27 continues. You don't feel joy because you're emotionally exhausted. Not tired, exhausted. Tired goes away with rest. Exhaustion doesn't. Emotional exhaustion is when your soul is tired, not your body. It happens when you've carried too much, for too long, with too little support. You spent years being strong, years pretending you were fine, years holding everything in, years absorbing stress, taking responsibility, fixing problems, solving crises, being the stable one, the reliable one, the unshakable one. But strength has a cost, and the cost is joy. Part 27 digs deeper still. You don't feel joy anymore because you backed yourself into a life that drains you instead of nourishes you. Most people don't lose joy randomly. They lose it gradually, through small acts of self-abandonment repeated daily. You chose the practical path instead of the meaningful one. You chose the safe relationship instead of the fulfilling one. You chose the stable job instead of the inspiring one. You chose comfort over growth, predictability over freedom, familiarity over authenticity. Every time you betrayed your truth, a piece of joy disappeared, and eventually there were no pieces left. Part 27 continues. You don't feel joy because you're disconnected from yourself. Joy is an internal experience. You feel it when you are aligned with who you truly are. But if you've been disconnected from your emotions, your needs, your voice, your inner world, Joy has nowhere to land. You can't feel joy while feeling numb. You can't feel joy while suppressing grief. You can't feel joy while ignoring pain. You can't feel joy while living in survival mode. You can fake joy, you can mimic it, you can post pictures of it, but your body knows the truth. Part 27 goes deeper into trauma psychology. When someone lives through too many emotional shocks, heartbreak, betrayal, instability, loss, pressure, humiliation, chronic stress, neglect, the brain turns joy off as a defense. Emotional numbness is not an emotion. It's the absence of one. Numbness is your brain saying, "This is the safest setting for now." Part 27 explores an even darker truth. Sometimes you don't feel joy because joy reminds you of everything you've lost. People who have been hurt deeply develop a fear of happiness itself. They associate happiness with vulnerability, happiness with unpredictability, happiness with risk. If joy once led to devastation, the mind learns to avoid joy entirely. So you flatten your emotions, you lower your expectations, you shrink your dreams, you stop letting yourself feel too deeply. It's not that you don't want joy, it's that joy feels dangerous. Part 27 continues. You don't feel joy anymore because you're living life on autopilot. Your days repeat, your routines blur together. You don't experience life, you endure it. You don't choose, you react. You don't create, you cope. You don't feel, you function. This happens when a person becomes disconnected from time, purpose, intention. You stop living with life and start living against it. Part 27 reveals the core wound. You don't feel joy because you stopped expecting good things for yourself. Life taught you to lower your standards. People taught you to lower your hopes. Your past taught you to lower your desires. And eventually, you lowered yourself. Joy can't survive in a life where hope is forbidden. Part 27 closes with the truth no one tells you. Your joy isn't gone. It's buried under years of emotional survival. Joy doesn't die, it hides. It hides behind your unresolved grief. It hides behind your self-betrayal. It hides behind your fear of disappointment. It hides behind your emotional numbness. It hides behind your unhealed past. It hides behind the life you were forced to build instead of the life you were meant to live. But buried things are not dead. They're waiting for the moment you stop surviving and start living. Waiting for the moment you reconnect with yourself. Waiting for the moment you choose curiosity over fear. Waiting for the moment you give yourself permission to feel again. Joy is not something you find. Joy is something you unlock. And the key has been inside you the entire time.